Hello everyone and welcome to Friday. About a week ago we did our annual charity event, Extra Life, where we raised money for our local children's hospital by playing video games all day. The theme this year was GameCube, which meant that we spent basically this entire year desperately trying to collect the entire GameCube library, North American releases. And it took a long time to do. We went into this year with about 140 GameCube games, and this year was when we decided we're just going to go ahead and finish it. So we collected a lot. There's about 560 or so in the US library. So 560 minus 140 is like 420 games in 1 year. So that's a lot. We bought a lot of those when we took a East Coast road trip back in April. We went up and down the East Coast going to a bunch of different game stores. We got a lot then. We had a lot of family and friends looking out for us whenever they would go places, and they would pick up stuff on our list. We also had a ton of support from you guys. I bet probably about maybe 2/5 or so of the entire library was donated by you guys, and we sincerely appreciate it. There was so much support. Just you guys sending in games that you didn't play anymore that you wanted to contribute, and we appreciate it. And then we did the event last week, and we had every single game except for one. And I didn't say what it was, but I'm here today to talk a little bit about that, and then to also show off the entire North American GameCube Collection, because it's really exciting. And also talk a little bit about what's next for us in terms of collecting video games. So I'm sure the first question you're going to have is, what was the last game? What was the last game that you guys got? It was this one. This is, I think it's officially called Backyard Baseball 2000, but that's kind of a misnomer. It's called Backyard Sports Baseball 2007. And this game is like really, really hard to find. We had opened mail the night before Extra Life and double-checked all of the games, and we realized we had all of them except one, and it was this one. So that night, the night before the event, I went on eBay and just ordered it so we would have it. But this game is one that we never found. Like, looking this entire year at so many stores, we never ever found this. Now there's a similar game that's just called Backyard Baseball, and this one you'll probably find very, very easily and very cheaply, but the Backyard Sports game, very, very hard to locate. But yeah, we have spent this entire year just trying to collect all of the games, and I gotta say that it does feel good to finally have them all in one place. Now, just because we have all of the games doesn't mean that we have a complete collection. We have all of the North American discs, and we're real close on the covers, and we're real close on the manuals, but we're not quite there. And honestly, that is something that I would really like to complete. That is something that I'd really like to do. So I think my next order of business is going to be just figuring out the titles that still need, box art, because there's a few, for example, here's One Piece Grand Adventure. Like, we have the disc for that, but that's the only thing we have. And there's not many of these. There really isn't. But there are a few, and those are going to be the next thing that I work on for the GameCube collection. I want to make sure that we have all of the original boxes. So that's what I'm going to work on next. After that, I would really like to get the manuals for the games. And we're not missing that many, but there are a few. Beyond finishing up the cases and the manuals, there actually are a few other things I've considered doing. The first thing is, there's a few titles that you may notice have the little yellow spine here, and that is a, I think they call it Player's Choice title. Yeah, it's a Player's Choice title on GameCube. And that just means, like, they used to call it like million seller, so like after they sold a certain amount of copies, they would reprint the game with that yellow spine to let you know that it was important, that it did well, that people really enjoyed it. So I've got a few here and there. Anytime I could, I would always I'd go for the black spine, just so everything would match. But I do have a few yellow spines here and there. I'd like to take those, and I would still keep them, but I would replace them with a black label game, just so I'd have that. The exception is Pac-Man Versus, which is actually only a Player's Choice title, which is a little strange. After I've done that, I have actually considered possibly collecting the Player's Choice titles. The GameCube library consists of about 560 games. The Player's Choice titles, if you're just going after the yellow labels, is less than 100 games, and I already have, you know, a handful here. So basically what I would do is, you know, I'd have the shelves set up where, you know, it starts with the Black Label games, and we go all the way through the Black Label games, and then at the end we would have all the Yellow Label games. And this is like completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary, but it's one of those things that after you've collected so many games for, you know, a system, you know, you've got almost 600, you're looking at it and you're like, it's really not that much further to go for, you know, player's choice and have those titles. So that's something that I definitely am considering. There's another thing that I'd love to have, but these don't show up very often, and that's the demo discs. I've managed to get 4. And the demo discs, these are the same ones that played, you know, in the kiosk when you were growing up and you went into the Walmart or the Kmart or whatever, and you got to play all the different demos. These were it. And they made about 32 or 34 of them. And these are the exact same ones that were shipped. Originally, they put the dates on them, and then eventually they actually started just numbering them. But there's about 30... something of them. So I've got 4, and I'd love to complete that set. I've also thought about just going for other regions. There really aren't that many like Japanese exclusive games, like 50 or something. So, you know, after you've collected, you know, almost 600 North American titles, going for like 50 Japanese titles, and Japanese games just in general tend to be cheaper than American titles. I've definitely considered it. And if I wanted to pick up some of the PAL exclusive ones, because there's like Taxi 3 and Neighbors from Hell and But Ugly Martians, like there's just a few of these titles that were only available in PAL regions, I could do that as well. So there's a few different things I could still do to complete GameCube. I want to work on some of the covers, I want to work on the manuals for sure, I want to replace the Player's Choice titles with the Black Labels, and then after that, I'm going to pick up demo discs as I find them, and I might go after the Player's Choice titles, I might go after the Japanese releases. You know, I may go for a, you know, true blue 100% complete GameCube collection. We finished the N64 carts, you know, a few years ago. I still haven't managed to get all the art printed yet. I'd love to go after the manuals for N64 too, but that's not anything that's pressing. It's just like, as I find the stuff, I'll pick it up. And next year we're going to be doing GameCube Extra Life again, and I already have the games. You know, that's great. I have the games. That's set. So now I can just kind of leisurely pick up stuff, you know, as I find it. And that's, honestly, that's the way I like to do video game collecting. This year was a little nuts to basically walk into a store with a checklist and say, this, and then go up to the store with like 20 games, and it's every genre, everything you can imagine. And the store owner's just like, are you trying to finish GameCube? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, I thought so. You have Madden and Dora the Explorer. And I was like, yeah. But it was fun. It was fun collecting for GameCube. It's a really great system. I think the system has aged well. There's a lot of good third-party games on the system, which you can't say so much for the successor, for the Wii, because there's so much shovelware on there. There's a lot less on GameCube. There's actually some really good quality stuff. So if you're interested in collecting for GameCube, I would say, you know, go for it. Maybe you would like to just do the Player's Choice titles. That would be a really good way to collect some of the best GameCube games, but instead of going for 560, you're going for like 100. And it's just 100, you know, Player's Choice titles. I think that would be fun to do too. But yeah, this was enjoyable. I'm going to continue to work towards it. Maybe at some point in the future I'll do a different video talking about some of the rarest or most valuable games, or the ones that don't make the list. Because there's some, I mean, this is a great example. This game is extremely hard to find. This game is very, very rare. And you ain't going to see this at the top of any list. You're going to see Cubivore and Pokemon Box and games of that nature. And those are rare and valuable, but there's a lot of other titles that deserve to be up there that, you know, they don't get the same amount of attention that some of these other titles do. So maybe at some point I'll do a video on that. Otherwise, I'm going to keep looking for GameCube stuff, just doing general video game collecting. My lifelong goal is to, well, I'd love to finish the Super Nintendo carts. I'm about a fourth of the way there. But more game collecting and more videos, I'm sure, in the future about it. Anyway, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've collected an entire console, please talk to me about it in the comments below, especially if it's GameCube. And I'm really curious if anyone's actually went for a Player's Choice set. I think that'd be a really fun way to get, like, not only a complete set of something, but also, like, good games. One of the downsides to collecting an entire library of games is that a lot of times you're getting a lot of duds, especially if you're going after something like Wii. And, you know, if you went for the Player's Choice titles, at least you know you're getting, like, some quality games, and I think that'd be really cool. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?